Today we have a political and military history that covers roughly the last 100 years, which nicely demarcates the end of the medieval era and the modern one, particularly around the Mediterranean and dealing with the, pains me to say this, clash of civilizations between the Muslim world, led by the Ottoman Turks, and the Christian one, primarily led by the Habsburgs. Although there are references to the papacy, the various military orders, that sort of thing as well. This is a chatty, fast-paced history. It's one of those ones where the author is clearly looking to pull out the telling anecdote. We get lots about the various individuals' personal lives and picadillos of various sorts. There's a scholarly veneer to it. This is more of a popular history, I'd say. There are sections that I would have preferred would have been a bit longer. My background is military history, and some of the battles I would have liked some more analysis about, but I understand that the way we're moving here and the amount of time we have and the limited space we have, then some sacrifices need to be made. I would have preferred, for example, the occasional, as much as the sources would allow it, maps of the various battles. We didn't get many of those diagrams. Of course, I could always just pull up Wikipedia, but, I did pay a couple bucks for this book, so it is kind of a necessary thing, even though we all have internet access these days. Is there a criticism here? Again, some of the analysis, it tries to get away from some of the big picture stuff. For example, there's lots on the Ottoman Turks and how, yes, the harem and infighting with the transfer and change of regimes was important, that they weren't necessarily a monolithic entity. There were factions amongst court politics and the like. I'm not sure how far away that is from traditional history. I would have... One major drawback in the book is that if you're going to tell me this is new analysis, you've got to give me examples of the old analysis to compare and contrast against. We don't get that. We don't get much on previous scholarship besides the occasional grand quote about the era. But again, it's popular history. I understand this isn't a thesis. It just meant there's something lacking for me. That being said, I am putting this in the I liked it list. And it's something that I probably will revisit maybe every 2 or 3 years. It's not excellent, but it's certainly above average. I'd probably look for more by this author. And if you want something that deals with a lesser known era of history and tries to kind of unify it into a narrative, then this works. I had dealt with basically parts of this book, not so much necessarily on where the book starts with the Portuguese pushing out the Muslims, but with things like the fall of Constantinople, for example, Lepanto, the famous naval battle, that sort of thing, the great sieges around Rhodes and Malta. They are key events here, and they are important events, and the narratives of them, although brief, seem accurate enough from what I know from my larger reading. So this is something that I'd probably reread when I was doing a bunch of reading on topics around this, maybe pull out some of those more localized works and kind of use this as sort of a grand bridge to kind of contextualize everything. So, all in all, a good book with a little less scholastic rigor than I would have liked, but otherwise enjoyable. I picked this up cheap on Kindle, like most of my books these days. The way Kindle usually does things is that Amazon does things is that you may find that it pops back up again. This is why I throw books in a wish list that look interesting, and every day or so I'll skim through it and just see if something new pops up. If you like the channel, by all means, like, subscribe, comment. You know what to do at this point. I don't need to be telling you this. Otherwise, I hope you have a good day and pleasant reading.